Let's get into these black people inventing rock and roll and not getting any goddamn credit for it. They can't never give us nothing. Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Cadillac Records. Now this movie is from 2008. It stars Adrian Brody, Mos Def, Jeffrey Wright, Beyoncé. Everybody is here. Now before I get into what we should and maybe shouldn't appreciate about this film, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things smoke-filled jukebox, juke joint, chitlin circuit. That's what it's giving here. You know, that soul, that funk, that grit that you used to get with those 40s and 50s, 60s black artists that we don't get anymore. 40 days, 40 nights, by the river. Just make your throat dry. Make you just want to smoke a cigarette in some smoke-filled juke joint ass chitlin circuit cafe. That's what it's giving. Come on now.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for and requested this movie. So if you happen to get your whole harmonica guitar playing ass life, it's not because of me, it's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now, getting into the movie, this movie was directed by a female, a Miss Darnell Martin. She did not have many credits to her name, but she did direct this film and write this film along with movies like I Like It Like That from the 90s and Prison Song with Q-Tip. Y'all remember Prison Song? When you look at me, oh, had you got to cry. What do you see? Do you understand? Oh, this is not that movie, but boy, Prison Song had us fed up. Also, going back to rewatch this film, I realized just how much of this movie is fabricated, and I absolutely did not understand why, with us having musicians here like Muddy Waters, Little Walter, Etta James, the whole situation with Leonard Chess. There was no need to fabricate anything, but you know, Hollywood is gonna Hollywood. So many things here, like Leonard and his whole relationship blossoming with Etta James, Little Walter's death, how he actually died, the whole actions that he had in the film towards Geneva, Leonard Chess, you know, dying, slowly driving off in the end in the parking lot, all the way down to, you know, him just not having a partner when he had a whole brother who had a hand in Chess Records. So many situations here that are just flat out lies. But despite that, what I can really appreciate this film is shining light on these artists that a lot of people still to this day have no knowledge of, you know, things that they did, their contributions to rock and roll, blues, country. This is a true window to artists who were pioneers, who never got any credit, royalties, recognition, and mostly died penniless. Meanwhile, acts like Elvis Presley, the Beach Boys, Rolling Stones, Led Zeppelin, using whole songs, riffs, not paying a dime for them for a very long time, just because outside of black communities, a lot of people could not put a face to this music and didn't really even know who they were and what they contributed to music. Lastly, there was also another Chess Records film that came out the same year as this one, and it pretty much disappeared. Now, I am not some Chess Records enthusiast or something. I don't know all the facts, but I do do remember watching this film not too long ago, and I was like, well, where is Bo Diddley? Where are, certain artists that are just not being discussed here who were pivotal in, the foundation of Chess Records? There's a whole film named Who Do You Love? It discusses not only Muddy Waters, but Bo Diddley and a lot of Willie Nixon, who is very much so responsible for writing a plethora of the hits. And it's a whole film that has just dropped off the face of the planet. If anybody saw Who Do You Love, let me know. Now we get into Muddy Waters here, portrayed by Jeffrey Wright. Let me take 1 minute for Mr. Jeffrey Wright. Nobody ever talks about this brother and his acting capabilities. He's been acting for years now, and he never gets mentioned in the same voice of a Will Smith or a Denzel Washington. He has just been pretty much coasting. But the capability that he has with every film role that I've ever seen him in to completely transform himself into a new person. He completely dives into these characters. The acting is great. The emoting is great. The accents, the body language. He's a completely different character. Every single time I see him, it's a new person. So much so for years, I really didn't even know what race he was. I was like, is he Latino? Is he white? Is he black? I really don't know. But he's a brother. Jeffrey Wright is a brother. Buddy is a sharecropper looking to leave those small means behind, going to Chicago and instantly getting him some hoochie coochie from Geneva as soon as he touches down and amplifies his acoustic guitar. Now, a problem that I had with the characters here, with how essential they were to music, I don't feel like a light was really shined on that enough here. We're just kind of going through the motions as we're introduced to new artists and new characters. But even something as simple as, Geneva throwing down the card to Muddy for him to amplify the acoustic guitar, that is so pivotal as far as rock and roll is concerned. No, he was not the first to amplify a guitar, but he did make it really popular and get it out to the masses. And not just, the forethought to amplify that acoustic guitar and that sound that has been used 12 times over as far as rock and roll is concerned, but even just the placement of a group of people to form a band. And it's just like, okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna be here with my guitar. I want the harmonica here. I want the drums, this, that, and the third. This was all Muddy Waters and several other people, but nobody ever talks about it. So I feel like this film really missed opportunities to put stamps on shit to go, hey, these people did this. Now, Muddy's relationship with Geneva was also pretty much all fictional and made up here. Muddy was actually married a few times before he even met Geneva. So maybe this is a collective of maybe reoccurrences in Muddy's life, but everything here with Geneva is false. But with it being an artist like Muddy Waters, we can all pretty much concur that he was probably outside. And while Muddy was outside, he met a kindred spirit that complemented him so well. A 17-year-old fellow musician, innovative, singing, electric harmonica playing ass, Little Walter. Now, Little Walter is claimed to be just as outrageous as he is portrayed in this film by Columbus Short. Remember when Columbus Short was outside doing movies in the 2000s and he had came up from being that backup dancer and he was acting and he was good and he was everywhere and cute? People need to keep their hands to themselves. Now, if you ask me who got done dirty the most here as far as their portrayal in this film, it would be Little Walter for me, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. But Walter is a gun-toting, reckless, young ball full of talent and potential. He needs love, he needs guidance, and early on, Muddy provides him with that. We also have Adrian Brody here giving us his best Leonard Chess portrayal. The way that Mr. Chess was written, I felt like it was really light and kind of walked a fine line to make him appear in a certain light. I just felt like we were missing something and they were too busy trying to portray him as a good, nice guy when I think we would have actually preferred something a bit more realistic, but he is a Jewish immigrant. He's from Poland. He's come to Chicago also to start a new life. He sympathizes with the black people. You know what I'm saying? He has a black bar in a black neighborhood where black artists perform. And you know, he sees the potential in what an artist like Muddy Waters could be, you know, so they can cut a record. And he can pay him in Cadillacs.
Gonna wait to leave, won't be back no more. Going back down south, child.
Child, don't you want to go? Don't you want to go? I just can't be satisfied.
And I just can't keep from crying.
Oh, come on, Muddy, come through. I absolutely love the fact that the actors here sung the actual songs that were used for the film. You know, it just adds an extra layer of authenticity, knowing that they weren't lip singing. Now, of course, in this film, we have it where Chess is going to approach Muddy, and it's presented as if he has all this faith in him and sees all this potential, when in real life, he never did that. Muddy was actually signed by an entirely different record label and given his first chance at success as an artist there because they believed in him. Chess initially didn't see any potential in Muddy's voice and did not think he would sell. He only acquired him because he was on the record label that he later purchased. I'm just saying. Speaking of just saying, let's discuss paying your artist in Cadillac. Now, we are not gonna act like he was not using these artists because clearly there was a whole power dynamic, and that's what's happening here. Now, of course, for the time, we are still dealing with a lot of prejudice out there, all this racism. Goddamn, I don't think civil rights had even happened. Like, it's still hard out here for a pimp. So Muddy's, you know, leadways are really limited. So for Chess to even give him an opportunity to record or just put him on any platform, it is a big thing. But, you know, in hindsight, it's just crazy when you look at movies like this and you see how much the music business hasn't changed. Muddy and artists such as him at that time, they were not big sellers. They were really unknown beyond, you know, black communities. So it wasn't a money thing. The most money that they ever made was when they were playing gigs and shows and stuff like that on really small circuits, nightclubs, shit that they could have done independently. But we have Chess here, you know, having him sign the contract and, you know, the car's yours, motherfucker, here's the car, and, you know, oh, it's a Cadillac. And of course, it's a shiny new toy. This is a man coming from being a sharecropper, coming from, you know, descendants of slavery. Like, it's been hard out here. So you throw some keys my way. Oh, man, he's so nice, we family. Of course, in the film, we do see that Muddy took these things to heart, as they still do today, wanting to look and appear a certain way in the public eye. Meanwhile, you are being paid in a Cadillac. Now, of course, we are getting gigs. We may be doing little Chitlin circuit tours, doing shows, doing nightclubs, at which I'm sure Chess Records gets a percentage of that. Now, when you actually do have a minor hit, or you do have the aspects of some royalties coming in from a hoochie coochie man, Cadillac ain't free, mud. Like, I already gave you that. I gave you that Cadillac. Sadly, we still see that shit today. We see so many new artists get signed, and as soon as they get signed, we see them, oh, here you go, a chain, little, here's a car. It's like, oh, yeah, no, thank you. I don't need you to buy me a car and a chain with my own money. So after they gloss over the fact that little Walter had the forethought to amplify his harmonica so he could be heard more, changing the sound of music forever yet again, we get into the record label a little bit more, and we get into Walter's character a lot more. Now, as far as Walter being done dirty here, I think out of all of our characters here presented in this film, little Walter was probably the one that I knew nothing about at all. Because I remember watching this, and of course I was familiar with an artist like Etta James, even Muddy Waters, but artists like Wolf and Little Walter, this was my first introduction to him. So for them to portray him here as an afterthought, a tag along, something that low-key Chess Records and them did not want anything to do with, and we just kind of have Muddy pushing him along, kind of pushing him on the record label, give him a chance, let him record, like, you know, just kind of asking. When that was not the case, Little Walter had songs. Little Walter was signed. Chess had multiple record labels. He had a whole nother label, and majority of the time when Little Walter was out, he outsold Muddy. He was very popular and had a very distinct sound, and I feel like they downplayed that shit so much here. He was just, you know, son. Don't call me no son. Columbus Short did a really good job here as Little Walter, but I feel like there was an opportunity to give us so much more with him as a character. You know, of course we have My Baby Don't Stand No Cheating. My Baby was about, oh no, she don't stand no cheating, my baby. Oh yeah, she don't stand no cheating. She don't stand none of that midnight creeping. It was a whole bop. But My Babe was not the only song that he had. He recorded a lot of songs. As Muddy said, made a lot of records for Chess. Many hits, many. Don't do Lil Walter. Don't do Walter. We have Muddy here. He is very much so a father figure, guidance. You know, he's really coddly and loving towards Walter, trying to steer him the right way. He sees his potential. And as far as the writing is concerned and things that are fabricated here, I have to ask, why would we tear that down when that's not even the case as far as Walter's character? It's like, you know, hey, let's throw somebody under the bus because we need some action here, when there could have been a plethora of action just with their real life ass stories. We have a lot of time here, we have the relationship begin to deteriorate between the two because Walter doesn't feel protected, and you see Muddy just pretty much kind of putting him to the side because he is more prone to the yes boss as far as Chess is concerned. Like, he's not sticking up for himself or for his group, for his bandmates, and Walter just feels kind of left behind, and this really leads to them disbanding when they fit together so perfectly. Or even down to Walter being a struggling alcoholic. Alcohol, for the most part, is what killed him as a person and as an artist. He struggled severely with alcoholism, so to have him not drinking early on, and he completely denounced, just drink, I don't drink, it's not for me. And you have the first person in the movie period to pressure him to take a drink after he's informed that his mother passed, you know, to take the edge off, and he really, you know, pressures it, take the drink. It's Muddy. And this in turns, you know, follows him throughout the film, at which we see him descend into this horrible alcoholic, running around just being more reckless than usual, doing a whole lot. And it's like, you know, why would we need that there? Just why? Even down to, I got $700. Don't you mess with me, say I'm a hoochie coochie man. Everybody knows him, yeah, everybody. Even down to Muddy running around being a hoochie coochie man, living fast and free. He is clearly a womanizer and is taking Geneva along for the ride. That whole aspect of their relationship being whatever for conflict, cool, whatever, have that. The whole thing with adding Walter into that mix is like, you know, we gonna throw everybody under the bus, make him a bitch ass friend. Let's just throw Walter and have it look like he was trying to throw that D Geneva's way, which he was. It wasn't try, he was. And Geneva was faithful to no fault. Little Walter would have got a little bit of hoochie coochie, because no. But to have that be another break in their friendship, when I feel like the bigger picture was more than enough, Walter not feeling not only protected as a part of Muddy's band, you know, you're not speaking up for me as an artist or for yourself, you're not portraying any dominance. We're asking Chess for stuff when we are the artists. We should be provided and looked after for certain things. How am I supposed to follow you and you're not being a leader? career. That was more than enough friction there for Walter to feel like, you know what, I need to walk away outside of, he got a lot of women. He could spell one, Geneva, what's up, girl? Yeah, we didn't really necessarily need that. We could have simply relied on that friction between Wolf and Muddy's character, which from my understanding was a real aspect at that time, with them being from the same place and Muddy kind of adapting to city life, all the shit that Chess has to offer, and Wolf is anything but. All the womanizing, the payoffs, the advances. You want a Cadillac? No, I'm not falling for you dangling that carrot in my face. I know exactly what that means. And Iman Walker does an amazing job here as Wolf and giving us the smokestack lightning. Ooh, it was real. Tell me, baby. I was like, oh, fuck, it just make you sweat, don't it? He did a really good job here, but he comes with that really good energy and the forethought even at that time to go, I know exactly what this is and the type of business that Chess is in. He is not your friend. You're not buddies. This is a business. Anything he has to offer, I'm gonna pay it back. I'm not only gonna protect myself and keep my old ass truck. I don't want any advances. And don't talk to him no more. Anything you gotta say to him, you can say to me. I'm the leader. Like all of that good stuff, and he just at that moment recognizes something that Muddy has yet to realize, that this is a business and I'm going to conduct myself as such. Now, by the time we get into Mos Def here as Chuck Berry, Maybelline, giving us all of his good duck walking, sweet Hollywood Island of Kokomo, giving us all of that good Chuck Berry energy. He did a really good job here in this film. This is when we get into Chess Records taking a little turn, and he has that universal commercial appeal. He can cross over. He is on the white radio airwaves. It's more exposure and more money. And about that time, I realized just the gravity of all the artists that we have here. And I was like, damn, I just want to know so much more and see so much more that we just can't get here in a 2-hour film. Blues is a passing fad. It's not cool anymore. It's came and went. Meanwhile, it's being used to be the inspiration for rock and roll and is transitioning into something else. But we just see how profitable it is, and just kind of how Leonard is jumping on the next new hot thing. It just feels like at this point, artists like Walter and Muddy were really disposable, and you could tell throughout the story that they really felt some type of way. And it's just Muddy coming to the revelation of, hey, we may not be as close as I thought we were. Like, as soon as you get a new act, I'm not selling as much. Not only am I now pushed to the side, but I don't have any money coming in. So from that point on, throughout the entire film, we only see Muddy when he's asking him for something, which I absolutely hated. And even though Chuck Berry seems like he has a lot of leverage to be that artist to take the label where it really needs to go, it's cut really short because he is arrested in the prime of his career for taking a white girl across, fix this, Leonard, taking a white girl across state lines. And that's when we get more into the aspect of others discovering rock and roll and discovering the artists. You have, Muddy Waters, Rolling Stones coming over to record and whatnot, and it's becoming a new craze and a new sensation, when it's just like, well, damn, we have been doing this for years now, and some white people come and take it and do it again, verbatim, word for word, the same style, tone, and keys and riff, and now it's new and it's magical and it's profitable. Now, at the point that we get into Beyoncé in the film, ma'am, Etta James is once again an artist who has plenty of potential to cross over. She has an amazing voice. She is beautiful. We decide to place a relationship, a budding relationship with her and Leonard in the film. Why? Because we can. It's this whole kind of this white savior complex going on that I really didn't care for. Etta James led a curious ass life, so there was no need to fabricate anything and try to force something where there was nothing. There was enough material with her struggling with her sobriety for pretty much all of her life, her just trying to make it as a woman in the industry, her voice, the soul, the grit, the passion. But okay, we have to go through this whole I'll save you baby ass situation. Then on top of the I'll save you baby ass situation, I do prefer Etta James renditions of the songs, especially at last. Beyonce does a great job here it's fucking Beyonce. But Beyonce does a great job here singing the songs. Preferably, I really do like I'd Rather Go Blind. Everything else I could have gave or take. And I can really see Beyonce really trying here. I remember her roles vividly from Dreamgirls, this film, you know, Obsessed. This is the latter when we're talking about her acting capability. This and Obsessed, you touch my child. That's a whole different situation. This, I can really see that she tried. But no, her singing is always gonna bop because it's freaking Beyonce. She can sing. Sang. This here, the acting, don't be looking at me like I ain't got no draws on. She was trying, but it was one notch away from Michelle, Kelly, let's get it. Like it just, everything came off as it tends to with her as unnatural. It just doesn't flow. You know, the walk, the talk. I'm your main bitch since Chuck got locked. Like it's just, I do it for you, baby. No. You know, the whole, he didn't see me, he saw the cum stains of all the other men, my motherfucker. It just was not giving. And then on the other hand, we have to sit there with Adrian Brody. Like, at least he got to kiss Beyonce. We all know Adrian Brody loves to kiss on the sister. I would have much rather learned about, you know, where that singing voice came from, where she gets the strength to sing that way with such passion, especially with how young she was, you know, even going all the way back to her childhood, as if we could, but just, you know, stuff that makes Etta more than some dark eyebrows and a blonde wig, which she was not giving. Beyonce was giving Beyonce. Not that Etta James isn't beautiful. She's beautiful, but she's beautiful in her own way. She has an intensity about her look. She has a little weight on her. It just, Beyonce was giving Beyonce. Can I get a bottle of gin? Can I get a bottle of fucking gin? Can I get a bottle of gin? Beyonce, Kelly. No. It just... Now, from the point of Etta getting her number one, we just have it look as if the record label is on a downslide, which it was. Things were changing, but it wasn't so much the music with Chess Records was still profitable at the time. It was more so the change in the dynamics of the neighborhood and people not wanting him there. Chess went on to, you know, open another label, you know, radio stations, all kind of other ventures, still a whole plethora roster of artists. Like, things didn't end at Chess Records, but it looks like it did via the film. But we have things just pretty much decline in the film, and we have Walter. Walter dies. Now, we have it here where he comes to the door, and of course, he falls into Geneva's arms, when in fact, he actually died at a girlfriend's home. It was just completely different, but it's used very well here in this film, with Muddy just kind of feeling like he's to blame for it. And of course, we have that really emotional scene where he completely breaks down and he cries. And that's when we really get the last straw as far as him and Leonard Chess is concerned in the film. Because it's like, I shouldn't have to come and convince you to pay for this man's funeral. Like, come on. And of course, we got our last appearance from Wolf, like, don't ask him for no more money, get your own. Like, no, we won't hear that shit. I told you not to take the Cadillac. But we also have Chuck Berry get out of jail. That doesn't look like much, and we just look forward to the aspect of him selling, because, you know, it's just deaded, but it's not actually deaded. He went on to do so much more. And then of course we have that I'd Rather Go Blind, that beautiful rendition of I'd Rather Go Blind with Beyonce, and it's really good for the most part. Muddy is still very much Muddy, but he hasn't had much luck, you know, with a career besides playing a little gig here and there, until he hits, you know, across the pond, and everybody is discovering him and playing the music, and he's this big sensation. As far as what I could see and what I went back to, the Rolling Stones was maybe the only band who really paid tribute and tried to help all the old school artists out, try to, you know, introduce people to the culture for them to even know, like, hey, this is what I sound like, but this is where it originated and what I got it from. We might want to pay homage to these artists, having them all come over to UK, all that good stuff. And we also end with Willie Dixon stating that, you know, we sued for back royalties and we got paid, which they did, and he did write all those songs. It was very, very hard. By that time when things was ending, we have artists like the Rolling Stones, all the British Invasion, all the Elvis Presley being, you know, the inventors of rock and roll and reusing their songs, repurposing riffs, just taking everything, and didn't pay a dime for it, so he got his money back for that. Now, as far as the statement of him purchasing Chess Records and is, you know, I will be a landmine, this is a special building, that did not happen at all. The opposite actually happened. We had the Chess Records get sold to another label, and they completely demolished the building along with all the records, any archives, any visuals that we could have had of anybody like a Little Walter, a Muddy. So much shit was destroyed. So till this day, it's really lenient on as far as what we can find and hear on certain artists, because it's just all demolished because nobody cared enough to save it. But we have everybody end up in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and everything just ends with a nice little bow on it. Is it perfect? No. Is it mostly fictional? Yeah. But does this film serve a purpose? It very much so does. People still don't know who these artists are and what they contributed. It's still not spoken on today. And even if you wanted to go back and grasp and pull at things to go see, a lot of shit was just downright fucking destroyed. These artists are not talked about enough, so I can appreciate the film for that. Well, you guys, that was my review for Cadillac Records. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop down and let me know what you thought about my review, what you think about this movie. Did you enjoy it? Was I being extra? Was this the best film ever made? Was Beyoncé amazing? I don't know. Drop down and leave that all in those comments. I look forward to reading them. I see you guys for my next video. Bye.